Hey, good morning, guys. Man, it was fun to see y'all yesterday. It's like a little reunion for me. I haven't seen you guys in over a year, and some of you a little bit longer than that. So it was really fun to see you guys yesterday. So I'm excited to work with you this semester. I wanted to make this quick video to talk a little bit more about things that we just ran out of time yesterday on, specifically around the course structure and why is it structured the way it is and how the assignments build on each other, just so you get the big picture. So bear with me for a little bit. This will be a somewhat short video, but I think it's important to do. So if you come over to your syllabus, we are spending the first few weeks really trying to understand some foundation concepts around andragogy. We could do an entire semester on this. This is an overview class in many ways. I think I mentioned to you that we're building a teaching certificate program, and this will be like the first foundational course of that certificate program. But we're spending 4 weeks just trying to understand a little basic principles around adult and community education. So we're going to be thinking about learning styles of our students. We're going to be thinking about our own teaching styles. And we're also going to begin thinking about a little bit of theory. That is the first course, the first few weeks of the course, 1 week on each topic. Again, we could probably spend an entire semester just on this, but we want to lay a foundation, and then we want to move on to course design. In the middle section of the course, in weeks 5 through 8, that's where you're going to learn the nuts and bolts of how to develop a course. So in week 5, we're going to identify the competencies that we're going to use to develop our course. In week 6, we're going to talk about how you create a course matrix and a course syllabus and what that looks like, and how you align that syllabus with your competencies. And then in week 7, we're going to talk about how you develop lesson plans, and in week 8, how you evaluate student learning. After that, the rest of the semester is about classroom management and facilitation. So how do you motivate students, strategies on effective lecturing or facilitation. We'll talk a little bit about different strategies and styles you can use, and then we'll end the semester dealing with a couple of issues around bias and diversity. The assignments build on each other, so it's really important to put your best work into each assignment, because if you kind of slack on one assignment, you're going to have to go back and redo it in order to do the following assignment. So try to stay on top of your assignments. They are cumulative and they build upon each other. You need one to do the next. So we start off with this self-evaluation of the learning styles. This is understanding your own learning style and how that affects your teaching and the way you think about how to teach, because it does have an effect. And then we move on to the assessment of learner needs. We talked about that yesterday in class. It's really important to assess learner needs. There's different ways of doing it, and we'll talk a little bit more about that when we have that lesson. But the assignment that you're doing relates very much to that. From then on, everything is about building your course. So you'll start off by identifying competencies. For some of you, that's going to be really easy to do if you're in an academic institution. For those of you in community, it'll be a little more nuanced, and I'll work with you to help you figure that out. After that, again, you're going to build your course matrix and your syllabus, and then you're going to, from then, move into developing lesson plans and a rubric for a major assignment. You're not going to develop lesson plans and rubrics for every assignment or every week of your course, but you will develop a few just to demonstrate that you know how to do it, with the idea that after the semester is over, before you actually go teaching the course in real life, you finish developing all your lesson plans. So I'm teaching you a method that you can use going forward in your career. Within that, just to give you more time to develop those materials, we pop in a mini lecture. This is where you just practice what it is like to provide a lecture on a course versus classroom facilitation. So that's just what that's all about. And then down at the end, we do the teaching philosophy. We're going to talk about how to do a teaching philosophy fairly early in the semester, even though it's not due until the end, because the teaching philosophy is probably the hardest document you're going to write in this class. So I want to introduce you to the idea early so that you can start working on it early, even though it's not due until the end. At the end of the semester, you're going to turn in a teaching portfolio, and that is where you finalize all of your assignments. So you incorporate all the feedback that we offer, you create an online module, and then you also create an online teaching portfolio and post all your final documents there. The idea is that that teaching portfolio is a packet you can take with you when you hit the job market, or something that you can use to build out when you get a teaching job and you want to have a foundation upon which you can build. That's what we're trying to do here. If you have any questions about that or how the class is structured, please let me know. But hopefully you can understand how we're building. The other thing to let you know is I'm teaching you my method that I learned and that I use. There's more than one. There's no right or wrong way, but for the purposes of this class, I'm going to ask you to do it my way. I'm going to ask you to use my templates so that we have standardized, and it just helps us when we're grading as well if everything is standardized using the same templates. There'll be some deviation that we'll talk about because I do want to make sure that it works for you and your work environment. But by and large, I'm going to ask you to trust my process this semester. So if you've learned different processes, for example, Clayton probably learned something slightly different when he worked in K-12, right? Elizabeth Sandler, she probably learned something slightly different as well. But broadly speaking, what I'm teaching you is a pretty standardized approach that I think will be useful to you. The last thing I want to highlight has nothing to do with how the course is structured, but it does have to do with grading. So I have changed the grading to a pass-fail. So you need to just earn 80 points in the course and you pass the class. So that is the other change I wanted to highlight. If you have any questions about that, do let me know. Otherwise, guys, enjoy the class. I'm really excited to have you guys. I'm looking forward to this semester with you, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.